like to introduce you to our Master of Ceremonies for this evening, Dean Fadi Dean. Fadi?
Thank you very much, Dennis, for a lovely introduction.
Let me go this way.
Welcome to NJIT.
This way.
It's a pleasure and privilege for me to join with all of you at this celebration. Coinciding with this year's Frontiers in Applied in Computational Mathematics Conference, we salute Professor Daljit Singh Ahluwalia and recognize his contributions, his accomplishments in education and research, and his service to mathematical sciences as we celebrate his 75th birthday. Dr. Ahluwalia is one of NJIT's most accomplished faculty members and a superb administrator. With a career in academia spanning over 50 years. Daljit has lived his entire life in the pursuit of excellence, and he has attained it. He has done so personally and professionally. He has also guided his own children, nieces, and nephews in the pursuit of excellence. As a mentor, and with great patience and respect, Daljit has dedicated himself to guiding younger faculty so they too can achieve excellence. As we will hear more about this later this evening. I have known Daljit for 22 years, since his arrival on this campus. During this time, I have come to know Daljit and his family very well, and he has come to know my family. Daljit has told me many times that his achievements could never have been realized without the support and help of his wonderful wife, Devinder. From the very outset of Daljit's academic and professional life, Devinder has been a constant source of encouragement. With her, he shared his doubts and hopes, his frustrations and dreams, his disappointments and successes. And together, they raised 4 exceptional children. At this point, I wish to recognize the Ahluwalia family. Daljit's wife, Mrs. Devinder Kaur Ahluwalia, who is, I must note, a highly accomplished painter and artist. Daljit's eldest son, Gurpreet Singh Ahluwalia, a medical doctor and psychiatrist, whose children Tejpal Singh and Jasleen Kaur could not join us because they are taking their final exams. Daljit's son, Jasjit Singh Ahluwalia, also a medical doctor, and currently Associate Dean for Clinical Research at the University of Minnesota Medical School. Jasjit's wife, Dr. Harsohina Kaur, a medical doctor and research assistant professor at the University of Minnesota, and their children, Iqbal Singh and Jatsiri Kaur. Daljit's son, Gurinder Singh Ahluwalia. NJIT alum and President and Vice Chairman of Asset Management for Genworth. Gurinder's wife, Prabjot Kaur Ahluwalia, a former coordinator of the pre-calculus program at NJIT. And their 2 daughters, Kiran Kaur and Kirit Kaur. Daljit's daughter, Dr. Muninder Kaur Ahluwalia. Associate Professor of Counseling Psychology at Montclair State University. I also wish to acknowledge Daljit's uncle, Mr. Ram Singh Sun, who is, by the way, the first college graduate in the family. As you can see, excellence permeates the Ahluwalia family. From this you can surmise how Daljit's character and values must have been shaped by his own upbringing. Daljit was born and raised in Sialkot, India on September 5th, 1932. We all know his age. For those of you who do not know, Sialkot is a city in the northeast of the Punjab and lies at the foot of the snow-covered peaks of Kashmir. Responsibilities came early to Daljit, the oldest male of the family. He was only 15 when he took his first job. Daljit graduated from high school in 1948 and obtained a bachelor's degree in 1952 and a master's degree in 1955 in mathematics from Punjab University. He went on to teach undergraduate and graduate in mathematics at the Punjab and Bombay universities for the next 7 years. Daljit arrived in the United States in 1962 on a Woodrow Wilson Fellowship to pursue a PhD in applied mathematics at Indiana University, which he finished in 3 years, with a master's in physics in 1965. He then served for a year as assistant professor there. In 1966, Daljit accepted a postdoctoral fellowship at NYU's prestigious Courant Institute for 2 years. From 1968 to 1986, he was an assistant, associate, and then full professor at the Courant Institute. From 68 to 72, he assisted Professor Joe Keller in establishing the Applied Mathematics Department at the University Heights campus of NYU. After NYU closed the University Heights campus, he went on to establish a PhD in Applied Mathematics at the University of South Florida in Tampa, from 72 to 74. Daljit then returned to Courant, where he pursued his research in asymptotic methods, wave propagation, and acoustics. Over the years, Daljit has also been a visiting professor at Stanford, Northwestern, and Columbia University. In the mid-80s, Daljit was looking for we were looking for a chair for our math department who could transform it from a service to a research department. After an extensive search, the department was fortunate enough to be able to recruit Daljit, who joined NJIT on July 1st, 1986, as professor and chair of the Department of Mathematics and founding director of its Research Center in Applied Mathematics and Statistics. At NJIT, Daljit has played a decisive role in the evolution of mathematical sciences into a nationally recognized center of excellence in research and in education. Under his leadership, the department began a BS in Applied Math in '89 and a PhD in '95, an MS in Applied Statistics in '97, and most recently an MS in Biostatistics in 2008. This year, Academic Analytics, an independent benchmarking organization, has ranked the department in the top 10 among similar departments nationally, based on faculty scholarly productivity. In the course of this development, Daljit has recruited a superbly talented faculty, noted not just for their research accomplishments, but also for their dedication to quality teaching and service. Daljit is well known for his mentorial relationship with the younger faculty, whom he helps develop, not only in terms of their research and grant-making potential, but also in terms of service and administrative leadership. Daljit's own accomplishments in these areas have set the tone for the entire department. Under his watchful eye, the department has become a model to others to aspire to. Daljit is also keenly aware of his social responsibilities and well known for his leadership, exemplary citizenship, and social consciousness in the Sikh community. In 1971, he was elected General Secretary of the Sikh Cultural Society, which built the first Sikh temple on the East Coast. He helped organize the first Sikh youth camp in the US in 1975, create the Sikh Renaissance Institute, established the first India Day Parade, and was founding president of the Overseas Indian Congress of North America, which awarded him the gold medal and title Ambassador of Goodwill in recognition of his service to India. Daljit and his family have been very generous in their support of excellence at NJIT. In 1989, he established an endowed undergraduate scholarship in honor of his late parents. In 1997, his children established another endowed undergraduate scholarship in honor of their parents, Daljit and Devinder, on their 65th birthday. Now, the Ahluwalia children have established an endowed graduate fellowship in honor of Daljit's 75th birthday. They pledged $50,000 toward the fellowship, and that commitment has been met. Our target is $150,000. The generous contributions of colleagues, friends, and other family members in this room have brought in an additional $15,000. CAMS, the research arms of mathematical sciences, also added $75,000 from funds that had been raised externally for such purposes, bringing the total to date to $140,000. I am certain that we will exceed our goal very soon. Daljit, congratulations, happy birthday, and best wishes for your continued good health, happiness, and vigor of mind. I would like to introduce a few additional members of the audience. Senior Vice President for Administration and Treasurer, Henry Mauermeyer, and his wife Carol, who rearranged her schedule so she could be with us tonight. Senior Vice President for Research and Development, Dr. Don Sebastian. Vice President for Academic and Student Services and Dean of the Albert Dorman Honors College, Dr. Joel Bloom, and his wife, Dr. Diane Bloom. Vice President for University Advancement, Dr. Chuck Deese. Vice President for Human Resources, Dr. Ted Johnson, and his wife, Lois. We're supposed to be here. Are they here? Not yet. The President, Chief of Staff, Dr. Hank Cross, and his wife, Robbie. General Counsel, Holly Stern. Mr. Phil Rinaldi, member of the NJIT's Board of Overseers. The Chairman of the Board of Advisors for the College of Computing Sciences, Mr. Alan Rosenthal, and his wife, Dee. Ms. Anita Rubino, member of the Board of Advisors for the College of Science and Liberal Arts. And last but not least, the President of NJIT, Dr. Robert Altenkirk, and NJIT's First Lady, Beth Altenkirk. It is now my pleasure to invite President Altenkirk, a staunch supporter of mathematical sciences and Daljit, to give his remarks.
Thanks, Fadi. Let me add my welcome to NJIT and this celebration of Daljit's 75th birthday. You know, mathematics can be a difficult subject. Even President Bush struggled at times with mathematics. You know, when he was asked by a reporter what he thought about his first 100 days in office at the beginning of his first term, he said, "Has it been a year already?" More recently, at a mathematics conference, where he was an invited speaker speaking to a gathering of mathematics professors, he sort of warned and admonished the academics not to misuse their position to force their often extremist political views on young students. He said, "It's my understanding you are frequently teaching algebra in which your students learn how to solve equations with the help of radicals, and I don't approve of that subversive talk." Now, Daljit has made many contributions to NJIT, including the initiation of new programs, being essential to the formation of our Department of Biological Sciences, increasing external funding in mathematical sciences at NJIT, And as Fadi said, moving the department into the top 10 in benchmarking analysis in the country. Of more visibility, perhaps, though, is the introduction of the fashion statement on campus of the matching turban and tie. As a matter of fact, that fashion statement might be might stand out more than my own fashion statement of the striped tie and the sweater vest. But seriously, it's been Daljeet's vision and tenacity that has put NJIT on the map in mathematics, and he deserves a round of congratulations from all of us at NJIT. Well wishes for a happy birthday, many more to come, and a speedy recovery. So let's have a round of applause. And I expect the other speakers this evening to follow the lead of the President and keep it brief. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Altenkirk. I am pleased to invite Dr. Jasjeet Ahluwalia to give his remarks on behalf of the family.
You always risk having an academic speak extemporaneously. This keeps me to task. Dean Deek, President Altenkirk, honored guests, colleagues, friends, and family, we are here to celebrate Daljeet Singh Ahluwalia's 75th birthday and to honor him. He is my dad, and he is your family, colleague, friend, mentor, and teacher. He is an inspiration to all of us. Welcome everybody. Tonight is a very important night. And from Dad's immediate family, thank you all for coming tonight and sharing this special occasion. Especially Dean Fadi Deek, thank you very much. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the extended family, all of whom would have so much to add. You know, this really is a kind of event you want your parents at and to see. Although they are not physically here, Professor Ahluwalia's father and mother would be so proud. As I speak for a few minutes and tell a few short stories, I would like each of you to think about your story, because I know you have them. Sometime tonight, close your eyes for a moment and reflect. Reflect, but not now, since at this point you're supposed to be listening to me. When did you first meet Professor Ahluwalia? What was your first impression? How did that relationship grow? Were you connected to his infectious energy? Did the small bumps in your relationship, in fact, only serve to strengthen it further and make it stronger and deeper? I suspect as you do this tonight, a small smile will come to your face. For while you may have directly or indirectly benefited from him being a part of your life, you may not know how much you have contributed to his life.
Can I go in the way?
Our dad was always larger than life, that's what dads are, an inspiration in many ways, teaching us about values and staying true to them. We want to share these values with you. Religion, in our case, Sikhism. The founder of our religion, Guru Nanak, said it 500 years ago, and Dad said it with his finger in the air and has said it for 40 years. Higher than truth is truthful living. That truth cannot be abstract, but an active living part of you. For Dad, this value is the bedrock from which all other values flow and emanate, and how he lives his life. It is the very foundation. The value of education, both formal and informal, is what Dad does and what he believes in, as you know. Well, he put his money where his mouth is. He has the proof. His depleted bank account reflects 4 kids who received 12 college and graduate degrees. He always wanted us to learn. Besides schooling, there was learning from life. Summers at Dartmouth, Northwestern, and UC Irvine. Road trips across the United States and stops at Yellowstone, Bryce, and Zion. Hiking trips, and I was reminded of ghost stories by the fireside up in Hanover, New Hampshire, by many of you. Trips to Washington, D.C. and seeing the museums, learning and always enjoying. The value of loyalty, staying loyal to those that are significant to you, and in the long run, they in turn will be loyal to you. He has shown tremendous loyalty in his academic career. First, for 20 years at the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences at New York University, where he was in the environment of the giants of applied mathematics. Tonight, the provost of New York University, David McLaughlin, is joining us. Then, for the past 22 years at New Jersey Institute of Technology, Dad has been fiercely loyal to NJIT, giving his all. He wanted the math department to be the best. Well, I was so pleased myself when I read this spring in the Chronicles of Higher Education that the mathematics department was ranked top 10 in the United States. President Alden Kirk, congratulations to you at NJIT. The value of integrity. Stand up for what is right and what you believe in. I was reminded last night when I was speaking with family of this value. One day I came home from college and wanted to talk to Dad about drinking, alcohol that is, and peer pressure. As you know, Sikhs in our religion, we do not drink alcohol. If you know our dad, he is very strong and forthright. So when I asked him, what should I do when my friends push me to drink? He surprised me with his response. Sure, take a drink if you want to. But then, when they ask you to take your turban off, what will you do? If they ask you to cut your hair, what will you do? And after that, what if they don't like your nose? What will you do? Well, we have things we can do now in medicine. Unbeknownst to us, my younger brother was listening that day 25 years ago. To this day, all the children have made a conscious choice and continue to value integrity, doing what we believe in and staying true to our values and the values that we were taught. The value of sports. You may wonder about this one. While an Olympic gymnast may not come to mind when you see Professor Ahluwalia, from our childhood, he believed it was equally important to have a fit body. He taught all the kids tennis and encouraged our participation in school and collegiate sports, which in fact we all did. The value of excellence. Whatever you do, do it the best you can. Whatever you become, be the best at it. Being the best meant working hard. He has said, if you love the work you do, then it doesn't seem like work. It is pleasure and fun. We have seen his dedication to his profession, to the university, to the department, and each of his colleagues. And he is so proud how it has borne fruit after years of labor. I can share with you, it truly has been a labor of love. And I was reminded tonight, it's not in my speech, so notice the deviation, mentorship. I think Fadi talked about it. It actually is a very important part, and it's odd that I forgot about it. It's a value that he has taught me. In my field, I've been an academician, a chip off the shoulder, and that has been a very important part of my life, and I'm sort of known for mentorship, bringing up people who from diverse backgrounds, and this is something that Dad has been very committed to, mentoring junior people, women, ethnic minorities, and many others. And finally, the value of family. He has always believed and followed through that this is the most important thing. There were many forks in the road for Dad where he had to make choices, often tough choices. The branch marked family was always the one he chose. Whether it was deciding to play tennis with his children or work more, whether it was deciding to be the caretaker for his aging parents or work more, whether it was assisting family to immigrate to this country or work more, whether it was to help a nephew and his family begin a new life here in the United States or work more. Often these forks were not just about giving of his time. He gave his energy, he gave his heart, he gave his money with no expectation that he should be paid back. I have no doubt his academic career could have even been further advanced had he not directed these energies towards these most important efforts. It was not a question of the right or wrong balance, but rather the balance he chose, and we all know that we gained from his choices. In 1962, Dad heeded the advice, go west, young man. He went far. He went from India to Indiana, and his family followed the year after that. He had two goals in mind with the move, to pursue an excellent education and to provide the best for his family. I stand here tonight to say, Dad, mission accomplished. So did you close your eyes and think about your story? If not, do it soon and celebrate that moment. But for now, let's all celebrate this man's story, Daljit Singh Ahluwalia, 75 glorious years, a toast from your wife, your children, your grandchildren, your brothers, your sisters, nieces, and nephews, your colleagues, and your friends. Dad, may you continue to receive all that you wish for. Happy birthday. And tonight, please everyone join me in a toast. 3 cheers to Dad.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alwaya. We will now hear from Professor Joe Keller. As you heard earlier, Joe and Daljit were colleagues at NYU. Joe is Professor Emeritus of Mathematics and Mechanical Engineering at Stanford University. Joe, Daljit tells me, he does not need a long introduction. So I will say that Joe is a giant in the field of applied mathematics. Professor Keller?
Daljit came to NYU after getting his PhD at the University of Indiana, and there he worked on the theory of plasticity with Tracy Thomas, a well-known analyst. And when he came to our group at New York University, we were working on wave propagation, a subject about which he had no experience, but he very quickly learned about it and became an expert and was able to help us with all kinds of research problems in wave propagation. So gradually he became acknowledged as also as an authority in wave propagation, and the work that he did together with me and with Bob Lewis and with other colleagues there is now widely used and cited in the literature. And so it was a pleasure for me to have him work with me and with our group at the Quran Institute, and then to help me also in the development of an applied mathematics department at the University Heights campus of New York University, which is in the Bronx. So we used to commute up to the Bronx, and on certain days and other days we would spend at the Quran Institute, which is in Greenwich Village. And our work was very pleasant, very successful. Many of the people here today were faculty members at the Heights campus in our applied mathematics department, and we had a great time there. And so it was a pity when NYU went broke and had to sell the Heights campus of New York University. And one of the consequences was this: all the people that we had hired at the Heights from all over the country, all of those who did not have tenure, we had to find jobs for them elsewhere. All those who had tenure were able to come downtown to the university, the downtown campus of NYU, but all the others had to go elsewhere. And it was a pity because it broke up a very nice applied mathematics group. On the other hand, it did a lot of good for applied mathematics throughout the country because former members of our department went everywhere and stimulated the development of applied mathematics in many places. One of those places was the University of South Florida, where Daljit went some years after the Heights campus closed. And I visited there and I found it was a nice place, but he didn't stay there too long. He came back here where he has built up a gigantic group, which is in many ways just like the group that we had at the Heights campus of NYU. A great many people working in different branches of applied mathematics, and I'm pleased to see many people now beginning to work in biomathematics and being recognized throughout the country for their developments. So it's been always a pleasure for me to come visit here to see Daljeet and to see all the others whom he has brought here and who are doing so well in developing a very strong department of applied mathematics. When I moved to Stanford, I hoped that I would be able to do a similar thing, but I didn't succeed. So I'm glad to see that he succeeded here. And therefore, I'm especially pleased on his 75th birthday that he's still going strong and active and keeping all of you working in applied mathematics. Happy birthday, Daljeet.
Dinner is served.
Stop recording, right? Or do you want that?
Who is currently Assistant Professor of Mathematics at the University of Delaware. John has known Daljeet for 16 years as a student and a colleague, and he will speak about Daljeet's influence on him personally and on his academic career. John, it's yours.
Thank you. So I told him it had to be for you. So as the Dean said, I've known Daljeet now for 16 years. It's kind of surprising that it's been so long. I started here at NJIT as a graduate student back in 1992. And things were a little bit different back here then. For one thing, there wasn't a PhD program in mathematics or applied mathematics. And when I came here, I didn't really realize that. I was kind of young and naive. But Daljeet told me that there would be a PhD program in applied mathematics. And those of you that know Daljeet know that when he says something will happen, it happens. And very quickly, sure enough, a few years later, the PhD program was approved. And now, as you've heard over the last couple of years, it's reached tremendous national prominence. And I'm proud to say that it's come to the point where I send some of my former students here. One of them just started here last fall, and I was very, very happy to be able to push him there. So I owe Daljeet a lot. He's had a tremendous impact on me personally, and a tremendous impact on my career. I think perhaps one of the ways I can express this best is anytime that I run up against a problem, how should we do undergraduate education? How should you do graduate education? What should a good applied math program look like? I always look to NJIT, and I always think about the things that Daljeet helped create here. So for that, Daljeet, thank you, and for many other things, thank you, and happy 75th birthday.
Dr. Greg Kriegsman is Foundation Chair in Applied Mathematics and Distinguished Professor at NJIT. He and Daljeet met 35 years ago at Courant when Greg took a position there as instructor.
30 minutes.
35 or 53? These are the numbers Daljeet gave me. There was a 3 and a 5.
It can't be 35 years ago, because that would mean Daljeet's 75. And I'm 60. Anyway, so look, where's Daljeet? Happy birthday. Listen, I don't think there's anything I can add to a list of Daljeet's achievements that have already been so eloquently spoken of by his colleagues. However, I would like to take this moment to acknowledge the Alawali family, Govinda, Nina, Gindi, Jessit, and Gupri. Their support and understanding of Daljeet's, can't remember writing, epic work ethic has allowed him to achieve so much over the years. I'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge Prabjot, who worked hard early on in our department's history to help run and organize a wonderful pre-college pre-calculus program, of course, with Marty Katz. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our many friends and colleagues who have given time to Daljeet's department over the years Joe Keller's been here many times. The late Julian Call was here many times talking to the faculty, Dalji, and others, and myself, Douglas Jones, Pam Cook, and of course Robert Miura, who I guess liked the place so much he stayed on. And that's just to mention a few. Again, I would like to acknowledge and thank the Alawaya family for the generosity in establishing Dalji Singh Alawaya Doctoral Fellowship. It is a fitting and will be a lasting tribute to Dalji's tributes and who has worked so hard and tirelessly for the department over the last almost quarter century. Thank you, Dalji. His efforts have set a trajectory for this department's success in the future. His legacy will be an outstanding department led by its future leaders, who Dalji helped attract here, of which we have so many: Michael Siegel, Demetrius Papageorgiou, Michael Booney, Jonathan Luke, Elisa Nicolapoulou, John Bechtel, Farzan Nadim, and Anna Rose. I mean, we have a stable of wonderful faculty who will carry Dalji's efforts and legacy on into the future. So happy birthday, get better. Look forward to working with you.
Dr. Robert Miura is Distinguished Professor of Mathematics at NJIT. Robert and Daljit met at Quran before Daljit and Greg, or after Robert? 40 years ago.
Yeah, actually, Joshi used to play with my son, my oldest son. So, actually, when I first met Daljit, and I have known him for over 40 years. When I grew up in California, I attended what's called a Buddhist church. And at the Buddhist church, there were people who would come from India who had turbans. So when I first met him, I thought he might be a Buddhist. Was I mistaken? Anyway, as I said, our sons play together, and it's been nice knowing him. We didn't know each other that well, but we were in buildings next to each other. And then in 1971, as Joe mentioned, the Uptown campus got closed. And I was one of those who was non-tenured, but I was downtown, not uptown. So it had an impact not only on those non-tenured uptown, but also downtown. And so that's when I left NYU. And I went to various places, Vanderbilt University, and ended up at University of British Columbia. And so at University of British Columbia, there's forced retirement at 65. And I was a little bit younger than 65 at the time. I decided to take early retirement because of my younger children. And I had gotten a package for Ahmed Bose. Where's Ahmed sitting? Ahmed Bose, for his tenure and promotion that Daljit has sent me. And I wrote back and I said, oh, okay, I'll write a letter of recommendation. And I said, I don't know why you just don't give him promotion and tenure without even writing. And then at the end, I said, oh, by the way, I'm thinking about moving back to the United States. And so if you hear of any jobs on the West Coast, I'm from California originally, from the West Coast. And actually, when I left in '71, the East Coast, I said, I am never coming back to the East Coast. I didn't like the weather or anything. So when I wrote to Daljit and asked him if he heard about anything about jobs on the West Coast, let me know. He writes back, this is an email, which is not his forte. Think East. And here I am. So, anyway, it's been very nice getting back together with Joe Daljit, and I must say he's a very, very good taskmaster and excellent vision for this department. And it's been a real pleasure working with him. Thank you and happy birthday.
Dr. Dennis Blackmore, Professor of Mathematics at NJIT. He has known Daljit for 22 years. He's a bit younger, Dr. Blackmore.
asked to present a short vignette of some memory of Daljit, and I had to really kind of comb through my memories and think of something that stood out. And you'll have to bear with me because it doesn't get to Daljit for a while. It does. It starts out that way and then it goes around a little bit. Anyway, I was reminded of a particularly nice, pleasurable conference, the first ICIM, International Congress of Industrial Applied Mathematics in Paris. I went there. Daljit was the chair of the department at that time. I went there alone. Daljit went with his family. And naturally, if you're at a conference in Paris, you're going to look for opportunities maybe to steal away from the conference if something is really not that interesting and do some sightseeing. It's the city of lights, my God. That was my first opportunity to meet Daljit's family. And what serendipity to be in Paris and to meet Devinder, a kindred spirit, interested in all things, literal, artistic, fine artist in her own right, and a wonderful traveling and walking companion. It was a wonderful time. Visiting the Louvre in an afternoon and talking about the artists, Bateau Mouche at twilight on the Seine, speaking about the culture of France and all the wonderful pantheon of artists and writers and poets and philosophers, trip Champs de Mars, Champs-Élysées. It was a wonderful time. Paris, turn any corner and find a place where the giants stepped. Sartre, Napoleon, Malraux, you name it. The great artists, Cézanne, Manet, Renoir, and to have somebody to talk to and to compare notes with, the writers, Baudelaire, the poets, Villon, Rimbaud, not Sly Stallone, the other Rimbaud. And it was a wonderful time. It was an opportunity to meet his family, his children as well. I was very impressed by them, but full of vinegar, full of fun, as they should have been at that time, but also obviously extremely well brought up. A wonderful family, all together, having fun, and I was part of that and part of the conversation. And now to get back to our protagonist for the evening, Daljit, I guess the moral there was, what a lucky man Daljit is. He was and continues to be. And congratulations, Daljit, and in the spirit of Paris, à votre santé.
Dr. Eliza Mitropoulou, professor of mathematics, who has known Daljit for 14 years.
I joined NJIT in January of '94, and Daljit was away at the time. He was at NSF. And one day, as I was working in my office in a usually quiet and calm environment, a tornado in a matching tie and turban swept by my room. And that's when I met Daljit. And within 5 minutes, Daljit explained to me his 3 principles for success in academia. They were excellence, excellence, and excellence. And that set me at peace, being a junior faculty in the department. Since that day, Daljit has often swept through my office in a similar fashion, and I'm grateful for that. I have always welcomed his advice on how to focus my research efforts, how to improve my teaching, and how to hone my leadership skills. Even as a junior faculty, Daljit launched me, and I'm using this word deliberately. He didn't assign me a position, he launched me into a position of leadership. He showed me that opportunities are there, and he told me it's my job to decide whether I want to grab them and whether I want to make a success out of it. Daljit has been my mentor at NJIT, and a big thank you is the least I can do, and happy birthday.
Eliza stole almost everything I was going to say about mentorship, so let me go and take Justit's advice and tell you about the first experience I had with Daljit. I was hired here in 1996 by my other mentor, Greg Kriegsman, and I'd spent the afternoon with Greg, and he basically said, I'm going to hire you, but you need to do a certain few things in order to succeed here at NJIT. So I went home feeling very good about the experience I had with Greg, and the phone rang. And at the time, Daljit was away at Stanford, and I picked up the phone, and the person on the other end said, "This is Daljit Singh Ahluwalia." And my experience with Greg was like walking through a rose garden, sipping flags. My experience with Daljit was like being at a construction site with a bulldozer coming at you. And, I got off the phone and I said, who the is this guy? But it taught me something about him very early on. And it really taught me that he likes to challenge people. And he has the ability to see within others, and this is what Elisa said, qualities that they have, and he challenges you. And I'll give you one other anecdote. At the end of my first year, I received a letter from, I guess, one of the secretaries saying, please submit all your materials for reappointment for the next year. All of the untenured faculty had done so. So I went to Daljit and I said, Daljit, what should I do? Should I, just give you my CV? And Daljit looked at me and somewhat cryptically said, why should I rehire you? Convince me, what have you done here? And, I could have been threatened by that, but I was challenged by it. I took it in the spirit that I think he wanted me and others at the junior level to really experience. If you want to succeed, you better make sure that you cover all your bases, succeed in all areas, be excellent in academics, in research, in teaching, and service. And I've really taken that to heart, and I know I can speak for almost any one of the junior colleagues that came up through the ranks with Daljit and with Greg. We really learned from both of them, but Daljit really was the one who pushed us. He said, you can do it. He's the most optimistic person I've ever met in my life, and I look forward to continuing working with him. Thank you.
One of the keys to academic success, or academic leadership, is obtaining the needs of your department, your faculty, and your students to be successful. And Daljit has a very special tool for accomplishing this. And that tool is the walk. So that's one reason it was very good to see him walk in today. I can't tell you how many times he said to me, and I know to others, Jonathan, let's go take a walk. And in those walks, we often visit different departments and different offices around the campus and make sure that the relationship of the department with the different offices is in a good condition. Now, occasionally, Daljit's methods inspire a little bit of, well, occasionally he's walked into an office and whoever's there will turn out their pockets and say, you got it all already. And there have been other experiences, particularly at times when the powers that be are deciding the allocation of space, where walking with Daljit through various areas has gotten very interesting. We'll share that for another day. But Daljit, it's good to see you back, and I'm looking forward to the next time you say, Jonathan, let's take a walk.
Dr. Michael Siegel, professor of mathematics, who also has known Daljit for 12 years.
First of all, I want to congratulate Daljit on his 75th birthday. I think those of you who know me know that I, at least before I had kids, liked to work very late at night. And I would stay at the office late. But I also like to save money, and so I decided to give up my car one day. But I was very faithful to looking at the train schedule and making sure that I would get home on the 7 o'clock train. But what often happened is about 6:50, I would get a knock on the door. and it would be Daljit, and he would walk in, and we would chat, and I'd say, well, Daljit, I'm going to miss my train. And he said, okay, it's fine if you go to miss your train. But the conversation was usually very compelling. He was teaching me something. And Well, I ended up missing that train and probably about the next 2 after that. And he always said, well, blame me, you know, when you get home and tell your wife, blame me. And I did. I blamed Daljit, and she always forgave me. But I will say that I learned how to be in those chats. A lot of what I learned about how to get things done at NJIT came from those chats. And it's debatable whether I learned enough, but I really appreciate everything I learned, and those chats taught me a lot. And so again, congratulations to Daljit. Thank you for all those chats. They really were important. Thank you.
Dr. Maury Katzen, professor of mathematics, and he has known Daljit for 22 years. Daljit, eat your food. You're next up here.
When Daljit came to NJIT, those of us who'd been here for a long time, like myself, and were primarily interested in teaching, we thought he'd leave us alone and just concentrate on research. He wanted to speak to every person individually, however, and when he finally caught up with me, we had a conversation in which I found Daljit had done his homework. He knew that our conditional admit students, the ones needing more mathematics remediation, were doing terribly. He also knew the EOP students coming in with a similar profile were thriving. He said, what can we do about this? I said, nothing. I said the previous administration had given me a myriad of reasons as to why we would leave well enough alone, not make any waves, and the rest is history. I think we'd all agree the history of the math department can be divided into 2 eras. AD and BD. After Daljit, there was no such thing as complacency. Complacency was out. There was no such thing as it's good enough, leave well enough alone. And instead, we asked our students to work hard, and we worked harder with them. The department became much better from a teaching perspective as well as a research perspective. And those of you who know us know that this really wasn't done entirely without pain. Some of it we shared with Daljit, some of it he gave to us. Nevertheless, I'm really grateful for the improvements, the changes, and for the thousands of students who are much better off because Daljit came to NJIT. And for myself, I think this is an appropriate time to publicly say thank you, Daljit, and happy birthday.
I would make some money on the table. So I can trade out.
Florence, southern coast, sand dunes that go on forever, like on the desert, stick right down to the ocean. Isn't that beautiful? Very
we would like to present Daljit with a plaque and a gift. On behalf of the College of Science and Liberal Arts, the Department of Mathematical Sciences, and your friends and colleagues here, I am pleased to present you with this special plaque in commemoration of this event. It reads, in recognition of Daljit S. Alawalia's contributions to NJIT, his accomplishments in the discipline of mathematical sciences, and in celebration of his 75th birthday. A very small token of appreciation from all of us for everything you have done. I guess you'll have to open that later. Unless you need to write.
I get the pen.
Dr. Alawalia, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm overwhelmed with the remarks made by Faridi, Bob Altenkirk, Joe Keller, my family, and my colleagues. Of course, only a few of them spoke. I know many of them wanted to speak. You know how Fadi is. I have a reputation that I'm like a very controlling person, but believe me, I'm nothing. You don't know Faridi. I would like to thank President Altenkirk in supporting our efforts in making our departments the best it can be. Now, as the President would say to me, which he always does, but I don't know why not today, it's a good to stop while you're ahead. Bob, I'm not listening to you today. I can recall my love for mathematics at the age of 8, when my grandfather was my tutor in mathematics. Because of these great foundations, I've been treated as special in my education, from high school to graduate education in India and Indiana University, Bloomington. And all the privileges were provided to me to excel in mathematics. After I finished my degree at PhD at Indiana University, T.Y. Thomas and Albert Hoff told me that I would not accept a job anywhere else. I have to go to Courant Institute. I explained to him it's very competitive and I'm late. He said, no, we'll keep you here for 1 year as assistant professor and next year you go to Courant Institute. They must have some influence on Joe Keller. Now, my good fortune was that the person I reported to at Courant Institute was Joe Keller. He was and is still is a great mentor to me. I call him my guru. Guru in Sikh religion is a very highly respected teacher. And even today, whenever I want to do anything, I consult him. Whenever I hired anyone, especially senior people, I consulted him. His advice has always been very good and very successful. For that reason, I've been so successful. Joe, it's because of you. Now, Joe Keller started, as he mentioned, at University Heights. Bob, notice, it was University Heights there also. At University Heights, he started a new department in 1967. And he asked me to join it. I said, no. If you want me to stay here, I would like to be again a visiting member or a postdoc for 1 more year. And after that, Joe's influence, believe it or not, I mean, you think he's such a nice and kind, and when he says something, you have to listen very carefully. I had an offer of associate professor with tenure, and he gives me an assistant professor with $4,000 less. I said, Joe, how can you expect me to be here? I have my family. Well, he went to the dean and got me a salary. But he said, look, we are at NYU, University of Illinois. Is that just? So anyway, it was a great decision I made. Thank you again, Joe. And this gave me an opportunity to assist him along with many other colleagues who will be now, I'm telling you now, when I'm done, all those of you who were at University Heights campus of NYU, please come over there because we're going to have a picture, photograph with Joe Keller and all of you who helped Joe Keller to build one of the best applied mathematics in 6 years. And of course, the administration, senior administration at NYU, they know the best, of course, because in my religion, it's called blessing in disguise. It's called, if you are good people, spread around, because the world will be blessed. If you are no good, get together, all the bad people to stay in one place. So Joe, your goodness spread all over the country, perhaps all over the world. And that's what you did. So in 1973, after 6 years, I told you the University Heights campus was closed. In 1984, John Teventis, who just retired, by the way, from mathematics department, he was a Quran PhD. He used to hang around at Quran. He was a faculty member at NJIT. Comes to me one day, he said, Dalji, we are looking for a chair. I think it'll be a perfect job for you. I said, where? He said, NJIT in New York. I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. I hope, Hank, you won't be offended. I said, are you kidding me? Do you expect me to go to NJIT in Newark? I had never heard of this place. But he never gave up. He continued working on me for about 1.5 years. Ultimately, I told him, if that's the case, ask your man who has the power there to have lunch with me so that we can figure it out whether our vision matches or not. So, go behold, Gary Thomas was the provost at that time. We had a lunch. We talked about our vision, his vision, what does he want to do? Because it was just a service department. I was, to my great surprise, a provost at NJIT has such a great vision, what he would like me to do at NJIT, and he almost gave me a blank check. And thanks to Hank, who did not mind to write a check. Whenever the money came, I think he hesitated a little bit, but he realized, you remember, he's very good in money. Now remember, in a bank, he gets maybe 5% these days. But whenever he invested in mathematics department, he got the return 7%. So because of the trust which Gary Thomas had in me and in my colleagues, that we built this department as first grade applied mathematics department. Then he was followed by Dr. William Denvaskar, who was the provost after him. And he was again very blessed. He continued supporting me in the same way as Gary Thomas did. And we continued marching on. And then, about 5 years ago, a miracle happened. A miracle happened. And that miracle was that Dr. Robert Aldenkirk became the president of NJIT. He dedicated himself to make NJIT a premier technological university with a beautiful campus, as you can see, those of you who have been here earlier, what a change has been brought in. And very important love of his life, besides that of course, is the Division 1 athletics program at NJIT, which is a great achievement and I'm sure will be successful. He has been a great and continues to be a great supporter of the department. So many of you sitting here and influenced my life. However, I should mention my roots which shaped me. Mr. Chandra Prakash Gulati, where are you? A friend for the last 55 years. He was my classmate in the Masters in Mathematics. My classmate, then my student, actually he was not real my student, but he was under my mentorship also, Joginder Singh Rathi, who was a student at Bombay University while I was a faculty there. And now then he became the chair of the University of South Florida, Tampa, who invited me to build it, but I didn't think I wanted to retire at the age of 42, because that's the place where you go in Florida. So I came back. And then of course, in New York, my first friends, Ramon Sethi and Anupma Sethi, where are you? In the last almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. Thank you. Now, Dharamveer Chopra. Where are you, Dharamveer Chopra? Where are you? Come on. You're still young. Dharamveer Chopra was a professor in DAV College, Jalandhar, when I was a student. I've known him that long. When I came here, I realized I don't know anything about statistics, but it was very important to build a statistics part of the department here. I hired him as the associate chair to build statistics department, but you know, he is not a Sikh. He is not a Sikh. You have to be Sikh. In order to succeed at NJIT, he ran away after 1 year. Dharam, I will never excuse you for that. I'm blessed to work with such a wonderful staff. They are all here. We are very happy to know in the math department. And my junior and senior colleagues in the department who are the pillars in my life, professional life. They are the pillars. Without them, I would never have been where I am today. In particular, I would like to thank my boss, who is very kind, as you know, very soft-spoken, doesn't have a big stick, but he carries a few words. You better listen to it carefully. Fadi, I think you are the best thing which has happened to College of Science and Liberal Arts since I've been here, which is since 1986. And Bob, thank you. I think you're the one who appointed you. I think this is one of the best achievements you did. Thank you again. Now I'll fail in my duty if I do not thank my three handsome sons, Gurpreet, Jasjeet, and Gurinder, and my jackpot daughter, Maninder, whose kindness and care sustains me in difficult times. And as you can see, I had an operation on April 25th, complete replacement of my hip. And the reason I have recovered so well is because of her dedication, of her inspiration, and also telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that. Nobody in my family can ever say that except my daughter. Last but not least, my life partner since 1960, and my inspiration, my love. Now Bob, I have to say here, when I met Bob, a side story, I love those things. I saw him in his office one day and we were talking about, deliberating about how he has been helpful in what we are trying to achieve, and in his vision and his mission, what he wanted us to do, we almost are there. And I said, you know, in reality, if you allow me to say that, I think we had love at first sight. Now he said, don't say in public. But I thought I can say in public now, because real love is not you, Bob. My real love is my wife, Davinder, who is really sitting, not me, but you know who Beth knows that, who are more important, the grandchildren. And she's sitting with all my grandchildren and 2 grandnieces. And Davinder, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Without you, I would not have been even around in this world, because you're so kind and encouraging and helpful. Thank you, and thank you all. I love you all. Thank you. here. Yes, now. Leave your food, come back, you get dessert.
Congratulations again, Daljit. Dessert, please do your thing. Dessert is on the way. I wish to acknowledge the efforts of staff in mathematical sciences and in CSLA in putting this event together for us. Susan Sutton, Padma Gulati, they should be here, I hope they are, yes. Silvana Brito, Kelly Griffin, Chuck Brooks, Michelle Hickey. Thank you all. And thank you very much for your generosity and for being with us tonight. Please enjoy the rest of the evening.